Hey everyone, welcome back. This video is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to actually discuss any, like news or outside world type stuff. This is just going to be a little bit more personal. It's going to be about me specifically, and you probably noticed that if you've been watching my videos that I have certain tics, right? And sometimes I'll hesitate to collect my thoughts or whatnot. And if you go back to the video, I don't believe in PTSD. That's true, I don't believe in it. And the reason I don't believe in it is because it's that I don't believe it's a disorder. But that's explained in that video. So if you want to go back and check that one out. That's a longer explanation, but yeah, that's part of the reason that I have some of these tics. Others is just I just do. I mean, and everybody kind of has their own little quirks in their own certain ways. Like one thing that I'm aware of the fact that I do it, but I'm not always aware of when I'm doing it. And this is actually a good example. I have a tendency to, like I'll bounce my leg or something. I mean, I can. Several years ago, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that I didn't have a gambling problem, but I wouldn't say it was like a major gambling problem, to the point where, like think of your alcoholic uncle, right? All right, the alcoholic uncle is kind of a cliche, kind of a stereotype, but you know what I mean. We all know an alcoholic, right? The guy who's always just friggin' loaded out of his mind, right? So, anyway, this is actually another part of it. My tendency to go off on tangents. I got sidetracked, and I actually forgot where I was going. Anyway, I was in a casino, right? And while I'm sitting there playing blackjack, that was my game of choice. I'd be bouncing my leg, on the chairs. I'd be sitting in the chair, just kind of bouncing my leg, and it's just kind of a nervous tic that I have. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna stop having this tic just because I know it's there. A couple other things that you might notice about me is that I have a tendency to do this, and the reason I have a tendency to do this, partly because, and this as well, right? I just saw that I did that too, right? Because I'm able to see myself as I'm recording. But yeah, I have a tendency to pull on my beard, and usually, I mean, that's more of just kind of a thinking thing, it's like, or kind of a fidgety thing. But like when you see me do this, I can see myself, but it's not like a mirror image, right? You can see as you're watching that I'm wearing a Megadeth t-shirt, right? So the M is over here, but it's not like a mirror, right? For me, I mean, I'm seeing it as you're seeing it. So it kind of throws me off because it's not like a mirror, right? And I haven't been doing this long enough to get the hang of it yet, so it's weird. So it looks out of place to me, so I try to fix it, and maybe I shouldn't try to fix it on camera when I notice it. But it's not out of place until I do this, and then when I do this, just little things like that, right? So yeah, I've got my tics, I've got my little quirks, and I make no apologies for any of that, and I'm going to do what I can to work around them, to push through them, but that's just an explanation of me, where I'm coming from, kind of why I do some of the things that I do, why I'm a little bit weird. told you I've got post-traumatic stress from Iraq and Afghanistan. That's a factor. I think some of it is, I mean, I'm from a generation where ADHD, for example, it didn't exist, right? It just didn't exist. You know, I mean, of course it did, but it didn't. You know, I mean, it was just becoming a thing. You know, that kids were getting drugged for. You know, like probably in my teenage years or so is when we first started hearing about stuff like this, and so that would have been no longer the Gen X. You know, it would have no longer been those of us in Gen X. It would have been more the millennials. You know, so there's a bunch of us in our generation that don't even believe it's a thing, you know, because, you know, a slap across the back of the head would cure that ADHD right now, wouldn't it? You know, obviously it's not that easy. But, you know, I mean, so yeah, I've got my quirks, I've got my tics. I don't apologize for it. I hesitate to collect my thoughts at times. I'm completely unscripted. And the reason for that really is authenticity. I mean, I could grab, you know, I've got a notepad right here, but I had some notes for a previous video, and I had that, you know, right in front of me, so I could reference it, but I can't even see what's written on that notepad from here right now. I haven't tossed it over there. That's actually the only reason that notepad is there anyway, is because I used it the other day when I was referencing some notes. But, you know, I'm unscripted. I come in here with an idea of, all right, this is the subject that I'm going to talk about. Let's see how the video turns out. I don't edit. Why? I mean, I could, I suppose. I mean, I haven't figured out the software for editing yet. You know, and eventually there will be some kind of editing, or at least I hope there will be at some point. Not so much in the content, but, you know, like putting different things on the screen there, you know, I don't know, maybe. That's just something we'll see what happens there. I mean, I'm not going to promise one way or the other what will or won't happen, because do I look like I know? So, yeah, you're probably thinking, you know, who is this weirdo? Well, that's who this weirdo is. You know, I'm just some guy with thoughts in my head that need to come out, and if they don't come out, I literally sometimes think that my head is just going to explode, right? And if my head explodes, my wife won't be happy because that'll leave her a big mess to clean up, and I'll just let my head explode, figuratively speaking, all over you guys, if that's all right. This way nobody has to clean up the mess. Other than you might be thinking, what the hell am I watching right now? Anyway, just kind of a little bit about who I am, where I'm coming from, why I have some of the quirks and tics that I do. And we're going to get more into, you know, current issues, current events. which I have always had a passion for. So we're going to get into that in future videos, just like we have in past videos. But I'm also going to get into more personal stuff like this in future videos, because the channel is called In My Head for a reason. It wasn't intended to be just a predominantly political thing. Turned into that because that's a lot of what's going on in my head right now. But yeah, if you notice any quirks and tics and whatnot, that's just me. It's just who I am. So hopefully it doesn't scare you all away. In fact, I'm going to ask you to subscribe even harder than you already have. No, but seriously, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you have subscribed, well, thank you very much. Leave me some comments, share the video, and tell your friends, tell the people you don't like, and hopefully we can grow this channel a little bit. I'll see you next time. Thank you.